Welcome back, everyone. This starts season 2 of the now Mindful Sagittarian podcast. My name's Sally, and I'm your neighborhood friendly psychic medium, chaos tarot reader, and your spiritual bestie on the internet. It's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for coming back to listen. I will be uploading at least every other Monday with new podcast episodes, depending on what is going on with my schedule. But I really appreciate you guys coming back to listen. As you can see, Amber is not with me on this podcast. We had some things come up, and between scheduling conflicts and Amber getting an amazing opportunity, we decided that I would continue this podcast as a solo podcast. So thanks for sticking around. You'll still see some guests coming in. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be recording over the next couple of weeks, but they will all be spiritual related. So yeah, I'm here causing dumpster fires all by my lonesome. But yeah, welcome back to the Mindful Sagittarian podcast. I figured I would kind of reintroduce myself a little bit and kind of talk a little bit about why I became a content creator for spiritual content and tarot readings and things like that. And then we'll just see how it goes. It might not be a long episode, but hey, I'm here to talk about whatever. So hi, I'm Sally. I am from Los Angeles, California. I currently live in Savannah, Georgia, one of the most haunted cities in America. I work full-time as a retail general manager in the fuel industry. When I'm not doing that, I'm also an event planner for special events, also a coordinator. I do catering, I do event operations. My company is called Celestial Event Services, LLC, based out of Savannah, Georgia. And I also do psychic mediumship and tarot readings online. You might know me as the Sagittarius Savage Tarot. So if you want to check me out there, it's www.sagittarius.savage.tarot.com, and you can see what I'm doing there. Now, why did I become a content creator? Well, I really didn't set out wanting to be a content creator for spiritual stuff. When I had my spiritual reawakening, um, I really felt compelled to work with tarot cards and delve into divination. There's something that really drew me in with reading tarot. Um, and as I kept doing it and I wanted to read for other people outside of reading for myself and, my close friends and family, I thought to myself, hey, I've done some content creation before. Why don't I put this on the internet and just see how it goes? It's really for me. I'm having fun. I'm, growing spiritually. I want to share these messages with people and see how it goes. And the rest is kind of history. I posted my first TikTok video with a collective reading. I wasn't even on camera. I was still trying to figure out TikTok because I tried so hard to not join TikTok for the longest time. It just, I don't know, at the time it just didn't seem right. I was familiar with Vine and, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, things like that. And I was like, what's the point of this extra app? But then I kept watching TikTok videos and kept getting stuck down the rabbit hole. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to download TikTok. So I lurked for a while and TikTok became my new platform after seeing a lot of other spiritual content creators on TikTok. So I actually started creating content 18 years ago. Um, that makes me sound really old. I am 36. I am not that old, but I posted a video of me singing and playing guitar to a song called You're Beautiful by James Blunt. I can share this video if you guys want to see it at some point. If you're on my Discord, the Savage Den Discord, I put it up there. But literally, I had just bought my first Fender acoustic guitar, and I have been kind of dabbling and teaching myself how to play guitar for a while. I play a couple of different instruments. I play piano, I play the flute, I play piccolo, I play guitar. I dabbled around and played drums for a little while. I also was in marching band in high school, so I did pit percussion, so marimbas, chimes, all those pit percussion instruments. Um, and yeah, so I've always been in a very musically inclined family, so I really love performing. I love singing karaoke. I love singing at open mic nights, things like that. So when I was like a sophomore in high school, I decided, hey, I'm gonna put a video of me singing and playing guitar on the interwebs. Let's do this. This was the age of Zynga, the age of MySpace, LiveJournal. Um, YouTube was just starting to get really big. And yeah, I did some other stupid stuff too, like lip syncing videos, the Spice Girls, lip syncing K-pop. And I used to we call them CJs back in the day. I ran like an internet radio station, so I would like DJ online. Um, and yeah, just a lot of my life was on the internet back then. I joined a lot of RP sites. If you don't know what that is, it's RP is role playing, but it's not the weird type that you might think of right now. It's like you delve into a universe. It was like the early version of fan fiction. So I was like super into Harry Potter. So I did a lot of Harry Potter RP, like forums. I wrote a lot of stories. I creatively did a lot on the internet back then. I just, really loved English as a subject. I loved writing. I loved reading. So that's kind of how it all started. And a couple of years ago, actually in July of 2017, I became a hookah reviewer. So those of you who don't know, hookah is, um, or shisha, it is tobacco. Okay. So it is, I don't know how to describe it in a very nutshell kind of way. It's basically like traditional pipe tobacco, not like cigarettes, but it's like tobacco and molasses, and you smoke it out of these big water pipes, basically. And it originated back in like the Middle East and like Turkey. It's super big there. And a lot of European countries, and now it's in, South America and like Brazil, they have a big hookah culture. Here in the US, there's a big culture. So I became a hookah reviewer. So I was reviewing products like hookah accessories, pipes, shisha tobacco, um, going to large events like Hookah Expo Worldwide in Las Vegas. Um, and making content with other content creators. And I did that for a couple of years. And as my life kind of changed and I moved and I got out of one relationship into another, just things happened and I kind of got away from that. I still have my channel active, and people do ask me from time to time if I'm going to do that again. Right now, that's just not in the cards for me, but hookah is one of my hobbies. I vape a lot more than I smoke hookah, but I still do dabble in it. So I say that to say this. I've been around on the internet for a while, just in different capacities as people go through metamorphosis stages and change. I have changed, and really just this past year in 2024, I learned a lot about myself and did a lot of work on myself and went back to therapy and did a lot of things, and here I am as a spiritual content creator who puts up, spooky things or weird things or divination related things. Just the world is my oyster at the moment. I am trying to figure out what my niche is. And that niche right now is tarot. Tarot content is like my big thing. But also just talking about spirituality on this podcast has been so much fun for me because I learned so much from talking to you guys every day on the Discords that I'm a part of, like Discord servers. Big shout out to the Boo Crew run by Theron Beyond the Veil, who is my best friend. And a big part of why I am able to do what I'm able to do. They, after a couple of consults, like really like woke something up in me that I was like, hey, this is the path that I'm gonna take. A lot of us have religious trauma, right? I was raised Seventh-day Adventist, and I just, I grew up a certain way. I grew up believing things were supposed to be a certain way. The explanation for everything was just go pray about it to God. And I spent a lot of time in, especially like during my teenage years, questioning if the Christian God is the only God, why does it say in the Bible, like, you will know, like, you won't put any other gods before me? I started really questioning things. My religious beliefs are very non-conventional. Um, well, I guess unconventional, I should say. Sorry, it's like past midnight. So I am saying some things like not in the most optimized way. So if I don't, you gotta excuse me. I'm keeping the edits to a minimum because I feel like that's part of what makes me entertaining is some of the blunders and the bloopers. And I'm not about being a perfectionist anymore. I'm kind of like live and let live. Say la vie at this moment. So yeah, I was questioning a lot of things uh, religion related. And I've always believed in reincarnation. I've always believed in, life after death. And, currently I am a polytheist. I started out being a Hellenistic polytheist, but then I kind of branched out. So I just say I'm a polytheist at the moment, uh, doing some witchy stuff. I currently work with a couple of different deities. I work with Hecate or Hecate, however you say it is not wrong. She is my matron deity. I also work with Anubis from the Egyptian pantheon. Also work with Set or Seth, who is my patron deity. I also work with Hermes from the Greek pantheon and Sekhmet from the Egyptian pantheon. And, I'm still exploring different things, but right now, doing the work that I do, that is who I work with. Now, for those of you who know me and have worked with me, I do what's called chaos tarot readings. Well, Sally, what the hell does that mean? Well, that's a good question. As simple as it is to explain, it's also tough to explain. I connect to a different type of energy. I connect to what's called chaos energy. And I kind of look further and beyond where I would be looking typically with like my spirit guides coming in just to kind of help me with readings if I'm doing intuitive readings, which is most of the time. Sometimes it's just me reading cards, just as a human, knowing what the cards mean, so on and so forth. But chaos tarot readings kind of look into the beyond, into the galaxy. I really don't know how else to explain that. I guess you'll have to book a tarot reading with me at some point to figure that out for yourself. But chaos tarot readings can get a little hectic, in terms of uh, it can make you really emotional. I could be hitting some things that you did not want to deal with, that you haven't thought about or you've never thought about. Uh, so that's kind of what I do is chaos tarot readings. I just started doing psychic mediumship readings as I'm getting more and more comfortable with talking to other people's guides, their deities, or trying to figure out what deities are trying to communicate with them, talking to ghosts. I recently just talked to a couple of clients about ghosts that are in their vicinity, in their house, on their property. I also do energy work, and I'm not going to go super into that because it's not like a service that I really offer per se, but it's just me personally. I do some energy work. I also just started some psychopomp work. So just I'm learning a lot about myself. I am on this journey of just trying to figure out how can I hone in better on my abilities to better help people, to understand myself better, to become more confident in what I can do. We just discussed being confident versus being cocky on the last podcast episode, and I really truly do believe that I have worked on myself a lot to the point where I can say that I'm pretty confident in my abilities. I stand behind what I can do as a psychic medium and as a spiritual witchy person. But anyway, that's pretty much me in a, nutshell, kind of bringing you up to speed as to what my journey has been. Um, I just launched my Patreon, so that's kind of cool. I just started teaching tarot. For those of you who don't really know me outside of the spiritual realm, I have spent the last 20 plus years being in upper management roles in food service, hospitality, and the retail industry. My passion truly is training, coaching, and developing people. So I'm kind of combining that with uh, just being a people person, being extroverted, and wanting to help others. So I have just started teaching tarot lessons on my Patreon. So if you want to check that out, go to Patreon. It's Sagittarius.savage.tarot, and go check out the different tiers. The tarot courses start off at $12 a month, and that is for my divination lovers tier. Anyway, yeah. So what else do I want to talk about on this episode? Let's talk about some cool things that are happening soon. So Spirits of Savannah is happening soon, in Savannah, Georgia. This event is hosted by Theron Beyond the Veil, and the event features Rebecca the Ghost Guide and Enika Edenfield, Enika Edenfield Tours. Beautiful house that we are investigating. Really, it's two houses on the same property. It's called the Printmakers Inn. Pete, the owner, super cool. I planned and coordinated the event. I will be here on site, also catering the VIP event and just being the event operator to help Theron, Rebecca, and Enika make sure like things are going smoothly and everyone's having a great time. So if you want to check out tickets for that, go to Theron Beyond the Veil .com/spirits of Savannah. And if that's too hard for you to remember, you can always go to sagittarius.savage.tarot.com, and I have a link there directly to the tickets. Now, if you can't come in person, we do offer virtual tickets. They are up on Theron's website, so give that a look. Other than that, I have some cool stuff happening. Um, I have been planning some meetups. So if you have hung out with me in person before or have not and would like to, we have what's called the Savage Den meetups, and I am going to be meeting up next in Chicago, Illinois, and also in Washington, D.C. Don't know exactly when the dates are going to be for those, especially since Sacred Spaces Gathering is going to be happening in August at some point. Don't have a lot of details about that, but I will more than likely be at Sacred Spaces as an attendee, supporting the content creators that I have a lot of respect for, consider some of them colleagues. And I say I consider some of them colleagues because I am a small fry compared to these big content creators. But everyone I've met so far has been so super nice and gracious and more than willing to share knowledge and insight and give really good talks and workshops at these events. I went to the one back in September. I know that this will be their third event, so I'm looking forward to it to see what they do and to meet all of you. Um, I have some guests lined up coming onto the podcast very soon. Some of you will know them as our fellow community members, but also I have fellow content creators coming on to give us some insight when I can get some time scheduled with them. If you guys have anything that you want to hear me talk about, feel free to send an email to the Mindful Sagittarian podcast at gmail.com or post up something in the Discord. I'm pretty responsive in the Discord. Uh, so yeah, like I said, this episode isn't going to be super, super long. I wanted to reintroduce myself a little bit, kind of give you a little background on where I come from in terms of like content creation, because I feel like some people think I'm really new to the internet, in terms of like being a content creator, and I'm not. I've been around for a while, formally creating content since 2017, doing my hookah reviewer stuff. But really, I started dabbling and posting videos of myself doing things, with music and what other shenanigans that I got myself into, like over 17 years ago. It's kind of crazy how time flies. Like time, what is time but a construct, right? Um, and yeah, I'm trying to plan more trips out to like spooky places like cemeteries and just old historic houses and things like that because I really enjoy the history aspect of things and just hearing about the history of places. I recently went on a tour at the Harper Folks House, I believe it's called, here in Savannah, Georgia. I was actually there yesterday, where I met up with a new friend, Sarah from Hostess Savannah. Shout out to Sarah. Super lovely person. And she also has a podcast that just launched. So go check her out on Spotify. Hostess Savannah. Savannah is the hostess city. So hostess like the snack cake. Hostess Savannah. Um, and go show her some support. She's pretty awesome and she does a lot of cool stuff. Like she's a tour guide when she's not working her full-time job during the week and had fun connecting with her. If you come to Spirits of Savannah, you may meet her. Who knows? But anyway, went on a tour, was listening to the history, but it was so crazy because like I'm there. I'm just like trying to focus on what Sarah's saying about the property because this was a living history tour. So she's dressed in period costume, speaking as the owner of the house at the time, Alita. And it was so intriguing and she just captured my attention. But I'm like catching psychic reads at the same time. And I'm like, what the hell is going on right now? And it was so cool. I had some really cool moments like Alita, like her spirit was in the house. And like she was very aware that Sarah was dressed up as her telling her story. And I was talking to Sarah about it. I was like, she is so happy that like her story is being told, that you are doing such a good job, like accurately telling her story. And I swear, like Sarah just looked like she was about to tear up and she told me, like, you almost made me cry. And I was like, why? She's like, it's so validating. And I was like, no, dude, like you're validating things that I'm seeing and hearing. Like, this is so cool. So I'd like to do more of those things. We just had a meetup in Richmond, right, a couple weeks ago with all my moderators, and we went to Hollywood Cemetery. And man, every time I've been there, this is like the second time I've been there, right? Just the reads are insane. And just the amount of things that come in, and then being around other psychic people, it's so cool to validate each other and try to, you know, do the paranormal investigation thing, right? Like debunking things. And obviously, I'm not a professional. If you want to figure out what paranormal investigating is about, I would highly suggest you check out Theron Beyond the Veil because they are a professional paranormal investigator who's been on over 220 something or 30 something paranormal investigations at this point. They are the professional, they have all the cool equipment. And they have the expertise and knowledge. I am not a professional. I am an amateur paranormal enthusiast. Um, Amateur paranormal investigator who's been on like a handful of paranormal investigations. So yeah, but anyway, ghosts. Ghosts are intriguing. Ghosts, I've been working on communicating better with ghosts because they sit on a different frequency, right? Like I think Theron said it best. It's like ghosts sit so much closer to like human energy. Like it feels heavier than like the higher vibration and frequencies that like spirit guides and deities and our higher selves are on. And like the more and more I became aware of that, the easier it became to talk to ghosts. So maybe I'll talk about my encounters with ghosts on a different episode. That would be fun if I can actually like write down my thoughts and be organized instead of just like winging it. Because right now, literally no script. I just came into this thinking I need to talk about some things on the podcast episode that's going to go out on Monday. Um, but yeah, like I can tell you about the story of when I picked up an Uber passenger who had a ghost attached to her and she knew about said ghost. I could tell you about the time that I met a ghost impersonating Jack the Ripper here in Savannah. I could tell you about a curmudgeon old man spirit at Hollywood Cemetery that just had a really crazy backstory. Um, I could, you know, talk to you about the house that I used to live in and when I was in Shelby, North Carolina, that was haunted by the lady who died there, and her wake happened to be there. I could tell you about the crazy things that would happen in that house. Um, but yeah, that'll be another episode. I really probably need to go to sleep. Um, but I really appreciate everyone for listening and dealing with my shenanigans and just really showing your support. I really love the communities that I'm a part of. Um, and the support that people show each other, especially going through life, around other people who aren't spiritual. And it's really hard to find people to talk to about spirituality because it's, kind of taboo sometimes. Let's be honest. I live in the Bible Belt, kind of, the Carolinas, Georgia, um, that area, Virginia, West Virginia, that's the Bible Belt. And there's a lot of people who identify as Christian. Nothing wrong with that. Those are their beliefs. So it's kind of hard to talk about, oh yeah, I work with this deity. Oh yeah, I don't worship your Abrahamic God. Uh, it's kind of hard. So it's kind of cool finding other weirdos and cool finding other people who have similar practices as you, people who are into witchcraft, people who are into, divination, different aspects of spirituality. It's just so cool to me that with the internet and resources being so readily available to us out there on said interwebs, that we could all find each other and connect from wherever we are in the country, in the world. I actually just recently connected with a fellow witch over in Estonia, I believe. She's super cool. And I've met a couple of other people like through TikTok, and just social media in general, just all over the country. And I am humbled and I just really enjoy talking to people about spirituality, and just how to be human, how to, get through your trauma, going back to therapy, and just really, discussing a lot of things that people are afraid to talk about. That's kind of why I wanted to start this podcast, because we don't need any more gatekeeping in the spiritual community. Like, I know in the witchcraft community, with witches, a lot of people have closed practices, or witches will say, like, oh, you don't want to share everything that you do, which I understand that, right? But I'm not about gatekeeping spirituality. If you want to learn something that I'm doing and you want to know more about it, I'm more than happy to like share with you what I know if I can. That's why I started teaching tarot. I'm not better than anyone else. I don't read better than anyone else. I'm not a better psychic than anyone else. I'm not a better medium than anyone else. I just do things my own way. I do things a little differently than somebody else might. That doesn't mean I'm any less effective or that I'm any less knowledgeable, or, I'm not as good of a psychic. Now, have people been doing this a lot longer than me? Absolutely. But like just because we're on different skill levels and whatnot, that doesn't make anybody better than anybody else. And that's what I'm here to teach. That's what I'm here to talk about. That's what I'm here to advocate for, is that we are all here supporting each other as content creators, as colleagues, as fellow psychic mediums, as fellow spiritual people, and just as fellow humans. I just I'm grateful that I'm in such good company, and that, I am thought of as a content creator and not just, Sally who's out there on the internet just being a moderator for someone, or just somebody who's kind of lurking in the corner, because that's really not me. For those of you who know me, outside of just what you see on the internet, even though I don't really curate a lot for the internet, like who I am is who I am, what you see is what you get. Um, couple of people that I work with at my regular full-time job actually are members of my community, so they know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I am getting long-winded and going on and on, so I'm going to end it here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are listening or watching this podcast. And I will see you next time, whether that's next Monday or the Monday after. I am going to try to stick to at least bi-weekly updates. But yeah, see you guys later. Stay savage, do your thing, and I'll see you next time.